ومستحفظ دينك فصل عليه أفضل ما صليت على أحد من أصفيائك وحجتك إنك حميد مجيد. With reference to Imam alayhi salam, now we in Quran we got some terms like mizan. For example, says وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقِّ. So what is this wazn? What is mizan? Or elsewhere it says مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. Elsewhere it says خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. Or in another ayah says فَلَا تُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. So what is this wazn? When we look into the ayats and riwayats and also the creation that Allah has, there is a measure, there is a mizan, there is a wazn for everything. If you want to measure the length, you have centimeters, kilometers, weight, you've got kilograms. You want to measure the temperature, there is a mizan, there is a miqyas. For everything there is a mizan. So now when we look into these ayat, it says أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ وَلِقَائِهِ فَحَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ فَلَا تُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. So for these people there will be no mizan, no miqyas, no wazn. So what is that wazn? In the ziyarat, for example, we have for Amir al-Mu'mineen, Salamullah alayhi. Inshallah, when we go to Najaf, then we say Assalamu ala mizan al-a'mal. So Imam is the mizan. Imam al-Sadiq is the mizan. Imam al-Asr is the mizan. Our actions, if they are compatible with the actions of Ma'asumeen, they are okay. If they don't fall in the category of the mizan that Allah has laid, and that is the Imam alayhi salam, everything is just going to be a waste. So miqyas, mizan is the Imam alayhi salam. So وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقِّ. So mizan is haqq. That is Amir al-Mu'mineen is haqq. Imam al-Sadiq is haqq. So فَمَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. So if our actions are with the compatible. Now we don't say like the actions because it is impossible for our actions to be like the actions of Amir al-Mu'mineen, like the Imams. Our actions, they resemble the actions of the sincere servants of the Imam alayhi salam. Because when we look into one action of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Yawm al-Khandaq, Rasulullah says, أَفْضَلُ مِنْ عِبَادَةِ الثَّقَلَيْنِ. That is, man, jinn, all together, get together from the first day to the last day of this creation. One verb, one action of Amir al-Mu'mineen is heavier than all the ibadat of everyone. So cannot compare anything with them. So we try to resemble the actions of the sincere servants of the Ahlul Bayt sallallahu alayhi. So Imam is that rank that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has placed. Now when we look into these Muslim words, everyone, he says that I am the leader, I am the Khalifa, I am the Rais. And they say, Amruhum Shura Bainahum. But for Imamat, that is not the case. Imamat has to be a designation, an appointment divine by Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. By Amruhum Shura, counseling, getting together, voting, selecting, electing. No one can get to the rank of Imamat. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, he says to him, Inni ja'aluka bin-nasi imama. Prophet Ibrahim quickly says, وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِي. Allah says, La yanalu ahd al-zalimin. So the imamat, it's the ahad, it's the covenant, it is the divine assignment of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. No one can get to it. God, only the 12 imams of the Shias that we have, they got to that. And because we believe they have to be infallible, no one else can get to that rank. So that is the beautiful aqidah that only the Ja'fari Shias have, and no one else has this aqidah, that the leader, the Imam, he has to be a ma'asum, ma'asum anil khata, ma'asum anil nisyan. He cannot forget anything, he cannot make any mistakes anywhere in his life, from the day he is born until the day he dies. Now in Ismat also there are all these weird opinions. Some say that, yeah, not necessary for him to be a ma'asum, for a prophet to be ma'asum. A prophet, some say that he can commit sins until he is appointed as a prophet. After his appointment, he doesn't commit sins. Some have even weird opinions. They say even if he is a prophet, he can still commit sins. It is only the Shias, the Ja'fari Shias, who say a prophet and an imam, from the day they are born and until the day they die, they cannot commit any sins. They have to be ma'asum because a designation has been given to them, and that designation is high. Al-imamatu ahdun min Allah azza wa jal. Allah gives that appointment, that assignment, and to likewise, all the other ayat that we have in Quran, one of the other ayat is Ati'ullah wa Ati'ur Rasul wa Ulil Amr. Ulil Amr is Ma'asum, is Imam Ma'asum. Now, when you look into these Muslim world, they say that Ulil Amr is anyone who has got the command, the Amr. That is not the case. The case is the command is with the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Now, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, living at a time where the Amavi leaders and the Abbasi leaders, they are in a conflict for the rule, for the throne, and they want the Amavis to back off and they want to take the charge and the throne. And it was a time where Imam Baqir and Imam Sadiq alayhim as-salam, they got an opportunity to serve. And that's where the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they got introduced to the entire world. Because the rulers, they were fighting with each other. They did not focus on the Imams. Otherwise, before Imam Baqir, like Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when he was killed for 10 years, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he was in the wilderness. He wasn't in the city. He was just roaming around 10 years, different places, because of the difficult time that he was facing, because he is the immediate son of Imam Hussein. Likewise, after this difficult time of Imam Sajjad, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he got the opportunity that the rulers, they were not focused to the Imam so much. So Imam, he started spreading the teachings by way of dars. And he has 4,000 students. Now these 4,000 students, it's not just a mere word of mouth, no. We have books that have been compiled by Abu Abbas Ahmad bin Aqda. He has a register of all the 4,000 students of Imam Sadiq. By name, they have been mentioned. That's 3,000 of them, from them says 800 of them are only from Kufa, who are the immediate students of Imam Sadiq, 900 from Kufa, 3,000 different other students who are there. And so the name, the identity of every single student is mentioned in that book. Now, some of the students of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, I'll just mention quickly a few of them. Aban bin Taghlib, we've got Ali ibn Yaqtin. Now, all these are these great students of Imam. Ali ibn Yaqtin, living during the time of Imam Sadiq and Imam Kazim alayhim as-salam. He is a Shia. Imam says to him that I want you to work in the rule of the Hukumat of Harun al-Rashid, La'natullahi alayhi, and Abbasi Khalifa. He says, allow me not to. Imam says that you work there and help the Shias. Whoever comes to you for whatever help, you help them. And then Imam says to him, Idmin li wahida. That is, you guarantee just one thing for me, and I will guarantee 3 things for you. The 3 things that I guarantee for you is that you will not be killed by any sword, so there's not going to be any murder, no terror on you. You will never be imprisoned. 2, And no faqr or these financial crisis or crunch, they will never come towards you. These are three things that I, Imam, will guarantee for you. You guarantee one thing for me. Says, what is that? Says, the Shias will come to you, help them. Whoever he is, help them. That's the only one thing I want. And he served in the rule of the Abbasis, helping the Shias, and one of the best of servants of Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam. Now one day, he comes to Medina. Now he's a minister with all those formalities and all the riches that have been given to him by the rule. He comes and he says, I want to go and see Imam as-Sadiq. Imam doesn't allow him, doesn't want to meet him. And then says, Imam, what has happened? What went wrong? I am a sincere servant of yours. Imam says, when he comes again the next day, doesn't allow him. Says, come later, come later. Then he sends a message that what is wrong, Yabna Rasulullah? What did I do bad? He says, one of the Shias, he had come to you and you did not help him. You patch and fix with him, I will meet you. He says, who is that? Gives him the name and the address. Says, he lives in Kufa. I'm here in Medina only for a day or two. By the time I go and come back, I cannot. I want to see you. Imam says, you will go to Baqi. There's a camel waiting for you. Mount that camel, will take you to Kufa. Go and get the rida and the contentment of the Yahya Jamal. And I will, if he forgives you, I will see you. He comes to Yahya Jamal and then says, this is what has happened. You help me. Imam will not meet me because you have to forgive me. You came to me to help. I was busy and I couldn't do anything for you. That's why Imam is upset with me. You forgive me. He says, I forgive you. He says, no, not like that. I want you to put your foot on my head and then say, I won't do that. I forgive you. He says, you have to, unless and for the Imam to forgive me. He forgives, and then he comes to Medina, and then he wants to see the Imam. Imam meets him. So all these little things, they matter. That is, the ashab of Imam, they are of that great caliber, someone who is on that level of being a minister of one of the richest khulafa on planet. And then when he comes to the meeting of Imam or being in the service of the Imam, down to earth, in the service totally humbly towards the Imam. And then these little things that matter, that if you don't have the rida and the contentment of another person, another mu'min, then all these doors, they close before us. Ma'asumin alayhim salam, when they close their doors, it's for these reasons. For these reasons. One of the other ashab is Abu Hamza Thamali. One of the dua that we have in Mafatihul Janam that we recite in the month of Ramadan is reported from Abu Hamza, one of the best of servants of Imam. Abu Basir, Hisham, Zurara, all these are great personalities, some of the great personalities. Now Zurara is someone who has reported the most riwayat from Imam as-Sadiq. And how was he guided? His sister, she becomes a Shia, embraces. She comes and guides her brother, makes him a Shia, connects him to Imam as-Sadiq. He becomes the best of students of Imam as-Sadiq. And now that he's so much qualified and knowledgeable, he converts his entire family into Shias. And then all of them, they become the best of ulama of the Shia world, the family of Zurara. So who converts all of them? A sister, a lady. That is, she comes and she guides him. Now Imam says, كَذَبَ مَنْ زَعَمَ أَنَّهُ مِنْ شِيعَتِنَا وَهُوَ مُتَمَسِّكٌ بِعُرْوَةِ غَيْرِنَا. A very strong report. Someone who says that he is following the teachings of some others and says, I'm a Shia, says Kadhiba. He is a liar, he is lying, he is not a Shia. So Zurara, when he embraces and he becomes the best of students of Imam, Imam says regarding Zurara, لَوْلَا زُرَارَ لَوَنَظَرُ وَنَظَرَاؤُهُ لَظَنَنْتُ أَنَّ أَحَادِيثَ أَبِي سَتَذْهَبُ. So all of these riwayat that remain from Imam Baqir and his ancestors, they have all remained because of Zurara. Zurara is great personality, and that Imam والسلام, he speaks so loud about him. And then in one of the other teachings that he has, sayings that Imam al-Sadiq has, he said that إِذَا أَرَدْتَ حَدِيثَنَا فَعَلَيْكَ بِهَذَا الْجَالِسِ. Who is that Jalis? Zurara. This is how Imam, he trains his students, he educates his students, and how he guides them towards his students being the best of. Now, one of the other companions of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam is Abdullah bin Jundab. Abdullah bin Jundab, he reports a hadith from Imam al-Sadiq. It is a wasiyat, a very lengthy wasiyat, about 9 pages. 9 pages. I'll just read a few sentences from that wasiyat. Says, Yabna Jundab, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ يَخَافُونَ اللَّهِ. First quality, they are those who fear Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. وَيُشْفِقُونَ أَن يُسْلَبُوا مَا أُعْتُوا. They have this worry, this fear, that Allah has given them certain blessings that they may be taken away from them. So everything that is given to us, it is not guaranteed that it will be with us. Hayat, not guaranteed. The next moment I can have a stroke and I'm gone. I'm speaking now. I can be paralyzed. I cannot talk. Just like that, Iman. Iman is also a blessing. Iman is here. God forbid it can be taken away. So that's why in the month of Ramadan, every night in all of the du'as, especially the night du'as, we say, Allahumma inni as'aluka imanan tubashiru bihi qalbi wa yaqinan sadiqan hatta a'lama annahu lan yusibani illa ma katabta li. So throughout the month, daily we were repeating these sentences that Iman is with me, it shouldn't be taken away from me. So mu'mineen, they worry for these blessings not to be taken away. وَيُشْفِقُونَ أَن يُسْلَبُوا مَا أُوتُوا مِنَ الْهُدَى. So hidayah, guidance, it is not guaranteed that it's going to be with us all the time. فَإِذَا ذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ وَنَعْمَاهُ وَجِدُوا وَأَشْفَقُوا وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. So these are the qualities of Shia. So when the Quran and ayat of Quran are being recited, or ahadith of Ma'asumeen are being recited, if you see that there is a change in us, there is a tremor, there is a sadness in us, there is some kind of an acceptance, means that Iman is alive. One of the teachings that we have, that when we want to enter into the sacred shrine of Ma'asumeen, we have Izn Dukhul. So we stand by the end, by the gate, and we say, Adkhulu ya Allah, Adkhulu ya Rasulullah, Adkhulu ya Malaikat Allah, and then the names of the Imams, Adkhulu, Adkhulu. Here, ulama, they say that when you're saying Adkhulu, and if a tear rolls down your eye, if you feel a shaking, a shiver, means that Imam has accepted entrance, granted, enter. So that is the permit given to mu'mineen. So here in this ayah also is the same thing. وَجِدُوا وَأَشْفَقُوا إِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا مِمَّا أَظْهَرَ مِنْ نَفَاذِ قُدْرَتِهِ وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. Now in Quran, we've got an ayah in Surah At-Taghabun. Now one of the surahs that every one of us, we want to be among the servants of Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, and we want to be his helpers. Now, the changes that we are seeing globally and at this fast and rapid pace, all of that is guiding us that the return of the Imam is qareeb. Inshallah, may Allah hasten in his return. Keep us firm on our Iman, on our belief, and count us among the best of his servants. So everything is moving very rapid, very fast towards the return of the Imam alayhi salam. So in this, we want to be among his servants. One of the mustahabbat that we have is to recite 6 surahs daily. The Musabbihat Sitta. What are they? Surah Al-Hadid, Surah Al-Hashr, Surah Al-Taghabun, Surah Al-Saf, Surah Al-A'la, and Surah Al-Jumu'ah. Now all of these 6 surahs, they start with Sabbaha Yusabbihu. Sabbaha Yusabbihu. They are known as Musabbihat. In Surah Al-Taghabun, there's an ayah, it says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu inna min azwajikum wa awladikum aduwan lakum fahdharuhum. So sometimes from the wives, from the children, there are enemies, fahdharuhum. You have to be away from them. And it's a warning that Allah has mentioned. So I'll give you an example to understand what exactly is being mentioned. One of the ulama is Sheikh Abbas Ummi, the author of Mafatih al-Janan. Mafatih al-Janan is the book that has been written by him, which has been published and printed the most after Quran. There is no other book that has been printed so much in so many languages. Marhum Sheikh Abbas Qumi, he died in 1950s. His son Sheikh Ali, he is saying this, that my father, he was on the deathbed. And he had written 2 books. He had written them himself with his own calligraphy. He calls me and he says, Sheikh Ali, take these 2 books away from me. He says, why? He says, I like these 2 books. I wrote them. I don't want these books to become a barrier, a hindrance in me leaving this dunya, an attachment I have towards these 2 books. So take them away. Or when you look into the seerah of the ulama, anything that they liked in this world, they say that at the time of my death, take this away from me. Maybe there's a child, there is a grandchild, someone who they like more. They say, don't bring him near me. So, and also if you look into these mustahabbat of a person who is dying, so you don't take children before them, don't make a lot of noise, because maybe one of these children, he is too much attached to them. And shaitan also, he comes and brings these things that we liked before the person who is dying, and says that if you don't, if you say La ilaha illallah, I'm going to harm you by this child, by this attachment that you had to this world. That's why now here Sheikh Abbas, he says that take those 2 books away from me, so that at the time of death, they don't become a hindrance, a barrier in me getting stuck to this dunya. So here in this ayah says, Inna min azwajikum wa awladikum aduwan lakum fahdharuhum. You keep away from that. So from among the examples that we find in riwayat is Zubayr. Zubayr bin Awwam. He's the first cousin of Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen, a great person who has performed miraculous tasks throughout his life. And things that he did in battlefields at the age of 16, no one did. And he says that, Amir al-Mu'mineen says that he was a good guy. His sons misled him. His sons, they ruined him. So Zubayr, in one of the riwayat that we have from Rasulullah, he says that, Zubayr, do you like Ali? Zubayr says, yes, I love him. He's my best of friends. Rasulullah says, a day will come you will stand against Ali. Zubayr says, how can I stand against Ali? I will never do that. And there hadith ends. In the battle of Jamal, Amir al-Mu'mineen comes and he wants to see Zubayr. His sons, they don't allow. They thought he's coming there to kill the father. Imam says, no, I have no intentions to kill. I just want to speak to him 1 sentence. Imam comes to Zubayr and says that, do you remember 30 years ago, Rasulullah had mentioned that a day will come that you will stand against Ali? He says, yes, I remember. Imam says, this is that day. This is that day that Rasulullah had pointed out. So that what took Zubayr away from being was the attachment that he had towards the wealth, and he was misled by his own sons. And likewise, we've got so many examples in Quran that Allah sometimes He addresses man as Ya ayyuhal insan, innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan famulaqih. Or else we've got other ayat where Allah says, قُتِلَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا أَكْفَرَهُ. So there also insan is being addressed. Sometimes Allah addresses man as saying, Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'innatu irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. So it's the same insan being addressed, but the level of that insan has changed over here. Sometimes when he talks about insan, he says, كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا, or كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِنْ تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَث. So all these are different statements that we find in Quran for the same insan. So what's the difference over here? It is that same insan who has corrected himself with the teachings of Ma'asumeen, and his actions are compatible to that mizan that Allah has laid and made, and that is the Imam. There he is addressed as Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'innah. Where he is not compatible with the mizan and the Imam, addressed in the other way. So here, when we look into Quran again, that mizan has been mentioned. There is a conversation that will take place between those people to whom the hell is assigned, and likewise conversations, meetings taken place in those to whom the heaven will be given. Now the first one, in the hell, when they have a chat and they talk to one another, they say, مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ. What brought you into this saqar, into this Jahannam? They say, قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. No salats, no prayers. وَلَمْ نَكُ نُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. We did not give anything to the masakin, to the poor. وَكُنَّا نَخُوضُ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ. نَخُوضُ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ. We had bad friends. So that those bad friends, they resulted us in ending up in this hell. وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ حَتَّى أَتَانَا الْيَقِينَ. Until death came to us. Now, on the contrary, in the heaven also meetings are there. So in the heaven, they will get together and talk to one another. وَأَقْبَلَ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. They question one another. قَالُوا إِنَّا كُنَّا قَبْلُ فِي أَهْلِنَا مُشْفِقِينَ. That we worried for our families, we cared for our children, we wanted them to be on track, we wanted them to be Muslims, practicing Muslims. So we worked hard. So all these centers and mosques that Muslim mu'mineen they make, it is for this reason. It is قَالُوا إِنَّا كُنَّا مِن قَبْلُ إِنَّا كُنَّا قَبْلُ فِي أَهْلِنَا مُشْفِقِينَ. That is, that desire, that worry, that caring, that we want the children to be on track. That's why we did all this. فَمَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا وَوَقَانَا عَذَابَ السَّمِينَ. Because of that worry we had, Allah also favored us. Allah chose us. Allah made us enter into the heaven. So that worry is important. For our children, we have to care. We have to worry. As a result, Allah will also help, and that help will result in us ending up in the heaven. إِنَّا كُنَّا مِن قَبْلُ نَدْعُوهُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْبَرُّ الرَّحِيمُ. So this invitation towards haqq that we have is what is being mentioned in this wasiyah of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam to Abdullah bin Jundab. Says, mu'mineen, they are those who worry, who care, who want their children to be on track, to want their families to be with deen. Allah will also help them. Allah will also end them in the heaven as a result of the desire that we have. Now, in the same wasiyah that we have from Imam al-Sadiq to Abdullah bin Jundab, Imam says, Ya Abdullah, لَقَدْ نَصَبَ إِبْلِيسَ حَبَائِلَهُ فِي دَارٍ وَقُرُورٍ. Now the time that we are living in, it's a very dangerous time, especially for the youth, with this social media and with all this mess and nonsense, and there is no control whatsoever. It's a very difficult situation. So we see that لَقَدْ نَصَبَ إِبْلِيسَ حَبَائِلَهُ. All these different gadgets that Iblis has, he has thrown them and is in full force. He is catching everyone. Imam says, what is the aim and the ambition of Iblis? فَمَا يَقْصُدُ فِيهَا إِلَّا أَوْلِيَاءَنَا. Aim is the friends of the Imams, the followers of the Imams, the Shias only the Shias. You see, from the 8 billion population of this earth, the focus is only on Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, wherever you've got the density and the population of Shias. Now here, we've got mobile phones, we've got service, data plans, everything. Now when I go to Iraq or Iran, Pakistan, or these Arab countries, they've got the same devices, but with 2 SIM cards, dual SIMs. So inhiraf that we have over here, it's restricted, it's limited. Inhiraf, they have its way ahead. Internet services provided to them are cheaper and quality is higher because they can download whatever they want easily. So that is how Iblis has laid all his traps. فَمَا يَقْصُدُ فِيهَا إِلَّا أَوْلِيَاءَنَا. Aim is to catch and to hold on to the awliya and the friends of the Imams. Now, Imam says, وَلَقَدْ جَلَّتِ الْآخِرَةُ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ حَتَّى مَا يُرِيدُونَ بِهَا بَدَلًا. Mu'mineen also, now every one of us, we are worried. We are extremely worried for the children over here. Now we have quite a lot of children studying abroad. Now, 2 weeks ago, I wanted to teach this hadith to them. About 50, 60 students were there who can understand these things. Hadith from Imam As-Sadiq says, if you were told that only one day has remained in your life, what would you do? So I asked the question, I asked these young kids that what will you do? Most of them, they said that I'll make a video of myself and post it on YouTube, post it on social media, that I want to be famous even after I die. So what will you do? I just want to be famous. That's what everyone is answering here nowadays. Everyone wants to have the more likes, more shares, more hits. And that is the whole understanding and the concept everyone has. Share, like, and subscribe. So now they say, okay, what is Imam As-Sadiq saying? Imam As-Sadiq says that if you knew that only one day has remained from your life, you have to focus on correcting. If there is any flaw in me, I need to fix it before I leave this world. Islah, correction. What Imam is saying and what the thought process of this world today is. Totally away from one another. Now when we look into the life of Shaykh al-Ra'is, Wali Sina, he was on the deathbed. Now, because he was on the deathbed, wajib on those around him, they face him towards the Qibla. Because it is wajib on them, then he has to be faced towards the Qibla. He is passing water, passing urine. Now, he cannot face the Qibla because he is urinating on the bed. So he moves his legs away. They pull his legs back towards the Qibla. Says, what are you doing, Shaykh? Says, you do your wajib, I'm doing what I should do. And on the deathbed, he says that, go and get me that book. Says, what book? And then he sees a masala, he says, no, you are dying, the next moment you will be dead. You want to look into the book? He says, I don't want to die, Jahil. I want to know this masala and I die. That is how the followers and the students of Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, they are. So it's beautiful, this wasiyah, and inshallah, if another opportunity is given, we will talk on that later. And also, it is the day of Shahadat of Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. The reporter, he says that because Imam was in the limelight and everyone is against the Imam, the rulers in particular, every now and then Imam is summoned. Here says that they prepared min janiq, and fire was thrown on to the house of Imam As-Sadiq. The entire house was set ablaze. Now Imam al-Sadiq, he had a big family, a lot of children at home. Imam was running in his house from one corridor to the other, saving the children and then crying, weeping, saying that I am the son of Ibrahim and look at this woman. The reporter, he says that I said to the Imam, why do you cry, Ibn Rasulullah? So this is Shahadat is something that was given to you and all of your ancestors. Everyone was harmed, was hurt. Why do you cry? Imam says, the cry is not for the pain that we are going through. The cry is when I remembered Ashura. Here I am here to help my family, my wife, my children. There on the day of Ashura, there wasn't anyone when the camps were set ablaze. Zainab al-Kubra, she was all alone, looking after all the women and children. And she was the one who saved Imam Sajjad alayhi salam and Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. So that is what makes me cry. Masaib also that we have that have remained are because of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. Baqatil that have remained, all the credit goes to Imam. Allahumma ahyina hayata Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa amitna mamata Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma arzuqna fid dunya ziyarata Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa fil akhirati shafa'ata Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. وعجل في فرج محمد وآل محمد.
ماجورين إن شاء الله 10 دقائق. يا حسين وين صابك ولأجل العين سجابه يا حسين يا ذكرك بطرف لساني يا حسين صابر وحاشاك لليوم الوعد تنساني يا ماجورين ان شاء الله. احفظ المستهل وساعدني بالجواب. النار بالدار وما تطفى دمعة العين. النار انظرها واشوف خيام الحسين. النار بالدار وما تطفى دمعة العين. النار انظرها واشوف خيام الحسين. انظرها واشوف خيام انظرها واشوف خيام الحسين. النار بالدار وما تطفى دمعة العين. النار انظرها واشوف خيام الحسين. انظرها واشوف خيام الحسين. كل فاقدي لك ما الحزن للذكرى تدمع عينه. بالاخص لو فارق محيط يسوى العمر وسنينه. يسوى العمر بلسانه بس كلمه تظل احايا كلمه وينه. والذكرى اني ودمعتي الطف كربلاء تودينا. الطف كربلاء أعبار ترجع بالسنين القطعة البين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين انظرها واشوفك يا مل هالنار بالدار وما تطفى دمعة العين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل انظرها واشوفك يا مل يدرون جد المنذبح عطشان ويعادوني والحراق لخيامي بحقي هذا الفعل رجعوني بهذا الفعل رجعوني من سمعت صوت الحرم تصرخ تغير لوني كان شفت زينب عمتي وداعت علي بعيوني وداعت علي بعيوني احتار صيحت ممنوع احتار صحت من واج يا ام الخدر وين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين هالنار بالدار وما تطفى بدمعة العين هالنار انظرها واشوفك انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين عالدار من جمعة وحطب نار الحقد مضرومة استذكرت وش كم جريت بمهجتي مهمومة بمهجتي مهمومة اسمين صيحت بحسرتي وبنبرتي الملجومة يا حسين مرة وثانية يا حسين مرة وثانية يا فاطمة المظلومة يا فاطمة أقدار دارت بالعكس عايشها مرتين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين يلا سمعني هالنار بالدار وما تطفى بدمعة العين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين الله اللي يساعد مهجتك يا جدي يوم العاشي بس على نيران الخيام معذور يعمل ناظر معذور يعمل ناظر لا طفل ذبحه بين يدي لا صدري داس الحافي شي يسوي قلبش ما صبر مو مثل قلبك صابر مو مثل قلبك صابر آثار مكتوب بدمع ما بين قلبين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين هالنار انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين انظرها واشوفك يا مل حسين ايامي معدوده صفت حزني وصف ايامي لا دمعه قاطعت حسرتي لا دوي في دلامي لا دوي في نار اللي بالدار سعرت رسمة خيام قدامي انا ادري بالسما انقتل بس ردت اموت نظامي بس ردت اموت إيثار روحي ومهجتي وعيوني الاثنين، هالنار أنظرها وأشوفك يا ملي حسين، هالنار أنظرها وأشوفك يا ملي حسين، هالنار أنظرها وأشوفك يا ملي حسين. وويلي على المسموم، وويلي على المظلوم، وويلي على المسموم، وويلي على المظلوم، وويلي على المسموم، وويلي على المظلوم، وويلي على المسموم. حسين 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 حسين. ماجورين ان شاء الله. لا دار. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليًّا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليًّا وأولاده المعصومين على الحق حجج الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وصل اللهم على محمد وآله الطاهرين